good question too. Where should you swap, V1 or V2? I came across this yesterday, and I was going to do a swap, and I forgot which one I was on, and I was about to get hit with some slippage on a very common pair. I don't remember which one it was, but very common pair, and I was like, what? And then I looked and saw I was on V2. So I think what I remember yesterday, V1 has a lot of the liquidity, or one of those has more liquidity on certain pairs, because I went to the other one, maybe it's V1, and it was like, yeah, swap went through no problem. So that's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. Like, where are people going to put it?
Yeah, I think the takeaway from the V1 V2 is that the majority of the ink farm liquidity, so liquidity between those pairs that are currently have farms open, they're going to be probably you're going to get a better deal on V1 because that's where all the liquidity is. On V2, all the non-Richard Hart tokens and stuff like that, where people want to earn their LP fees that they don't necessarily have a farm where they're earning ink, you're probably going to get a better value on V2 when you do the trade because they probably have more liquidity on version 2 because they want to make that LP fee. What I've done is I've had like two browsers open side by side, one with V1, one with V2, and I just compared like the same swap, like, which is the better deal, and then I just went with that.
Yeah, I was just okay, price effect 100%. I was just going to test it out real quick. So 100, this, and then let me do this one and switch to V. Let's see, I'm on V2 there. Okay, switch to V1. I'll do the same die with BTC. And then, so you see which one. So V1 has liquidity for this pair at least, and other ones, I imagine. And then this one, yeah, you try to do 10,000, you try to do 100,000, going to have a bad day if you like money, it seems like. Interesting. Your die goes farther on V1 if you want to wrap Bitcoin. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, and again, that's only for the pairs that have ink farms. So I think that everybody else who doesn't have an ink farm probably has more incentive to provide liquidity on V2 because they don't have a farm, they're not earning ink, and they want to earn that LP fees to kind of um, offset their impermanent loss. So I
Well, that's the
think
question.
if you're not doing the main tokens, probably V2.
Is that when do you think there will be farms on V2? I guess is what we're waiting on.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. They said there. I think Richard Hart had a tweet where he implied like there may or may not be, depends on where the community is providing the most liquidity. So maybe if everybody from version 1 in the community just suddenly pulled their liquidity and moved it to version 2, that would incentivize whoever is running the back end of PulseX to maybe open up a farm to incentivize that. But I think the community has been very vocal, at least in a lot of the tweets that I've seen, that they are actually supportive of the 100% buy and burn, and they wanted to keep it here. And I think having the ink farms here to offset the lack of LP fees, is enough incentive for people to really want to just stay on V1.
Interesting. Yeah, that's something that. Yeah, I mean, it's in the self-interest part. You would want farms on V2 because you want the LP fees and the ink. But what if it becomes like V1 is for ink and V2 is for LP? Do you think that's how it'll shake out?
I mean, it's hard to say. There may be a point at some point where the farms get moved to version, V2 or whatever. Again, we don't know what the incentive token is going to be used for them, and if there is a governance contract or something like that, and the ink holders have enough ink to vote, I mean, they could potentially vote opening up farms on version 2. You know, so it's hard to see how it'll shake out, but at the moment, I don't think anybody's keen on leaving the V1 farms because ink has just been amazing.
So that's the I guess the two most likely possibilities. Either one, the farms will stay on V1 with ink and LP fees on V2, or the farms will move to, or I guess either move or I guess the market would probably move a lot of the farms if they were available on V2. They would move, a lot of the farms would probably move there because people would be making both the LP and the INC for it.
Exactly. Yep. And then of course there's always people who want 100% buy and burn, but without earning INC to kind of to offset the the impermanent loss, I can't really see that even people who are hardcore supporters of 100% buy and burn, I think it would be hard for them to want to stay as a liquidity provider in V1 unless there was like some sort of an incentive, like the incentive token.
Right. We're gonna see how benevolent the community is going to be, or what they value. Do they value more buy and burn? Do they value the LP fees? That's the cool thing about this, man. Like I like the way Richard's handling it. I honestly like to see. I think he's just waiting to see what people are going to do, what they value, and kind of it's almost like he's going to decide what's going to happen, but he's looking for feedback. I think with all these moves, there's no fast moves, or if they are, there's no fast fixes, right? There's only fast changes afterwards. There's just, hey, let's see how this works. Maybe it's cool. Let's turn the bug into a feature, right? Let's see see how it works.
Well, if that was the case, then I feel like he's been really successful at that because it's been absolutely incredible. Even with the V1 and V2, and there's all that FUD with like, oh, bug or whatever, and everybody was freaking out. Even in that entire storm, I feel like Richard Hart and PulseX came out on top. Like nobody was phased. Hardly any of the liquidity moved to version 2. Everybody was supportive of version 1. So except for again the non-Richard Hart tokens, which I understand V2 may be like the premier non-Richard Hart token, DEX exchange.